Good morning, afternoon and evening all, this is Yorkie, I hope you're doing well. Today we look at episode 16 of our in-depth track guide, this week at Career. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the lap. So now you've seen the lap, let's move on to the breakdown. You want to try and make the most of the awkward position that it leaves you in. Take turn 17 completely flat out, drain the curves throughout, and as you come out into the final corner open up your DRS. As we come down the start finish straight, you want to keep to the right hand side. Under racing conditions you can brake at the start of the curbing on the right hand side of the track, but as we have DRS open we need to brake here at the go concrete. So hitting our braking point, we're going to shift down into first gear, we're going to turn the car in, and we're aiming to clip our front left wheel just here, just off the curb on the inside. The curbs around this track are very high, and the majority of them are best to be avoided. As we come out through the exit, we're going to let the car round outright, we're going to keep turn 2 completely flat out, we're going to drain about 20% of our curves, also get your DRS open as soon as possible as we come down this long back straight. As we get into the higher gears, we're going to drain the rest of our curves down to about 50%. Coming to the left hand side for turn 3, our braking point is at the 150 metre board. This corner is very hard to judge. I find that braking earlier and trying to coast the car in works better than braking late and going straight on. So in the braking zone we're going to shift down into first gear once again, we're going to turn the car in and we're going to stay completely off the curb on the inside. Our clipping point for the apex is just here off the curb, and as you can see the curb is actually very large. So avoiding that, we're going to hook it up nicely, we're going to let our car drift out wide. You can use the curb on the outside but it's best avoided as you get better traction. You're going to drain about 30% of your curves, obviously getting DRS open as soon as possible, letting the car drift to the right ready for turn 4. Our braking point is about 110-120 metres before the corner. Under racing conditions and without DRS you can brake at the 100 metre board. This is another first gear corner. You want to turn in relatively late and you just want to hug the inside curb. You want to try avoid running it and clipping your front left wheel roughly here. And as you come out through the exit you want to try and keep towards the middle of the track as turn 5 immediately follows. So doing exactly that, we're going to bring the car over to the left, try and open up the corner a little bit. Our braking point for this corner is at both the start and also the end of the curves on either side of the track. Our braking is just a very short stab of the brake and a shift down into first gear. As we come into the corner, once again we're trying to avoid the curb on the inside. As turn 6 immediately follows, we need to compensate for this by once again sticking to the middle of the track. We're going to let the car drift over to the right, then we're going to flick it left in towards the apex. Our clipping point for the apex is just here on the inside, once again just off the curb. As there isn't a corner that follows, we can get on the power on the exit. As we let the car drift out wide and get up into second gear, We're going to start draining the rest of our curves and obviously open up the DRS as we go flat out towards turn 7. Turn 7 is a right-hander that is completely flat out. You need the DRS closed for it though, and you basically just want to run the curb on the inside, clipping the apex just here. Still keeping it completely flat as we come out through the exit and run into turn 8. Turn 8's got some nice camber which helps you get into the apex a little bit more, and you want to clip your front left wheel just here, just off the curb. Because of the high speed, it's better to stay off the curb and basically just try and keep it nice and smooth. So come out through the exit, you get your DRS open and we're going to drift over to the right hand side of the track, ready for turn 9. Our braking point is roughly here. I don't really have any reference points, but if you can spot it, it'll probably be the red painted tarmac on the right hand side. We're going to shift down into 4th gear and we're going to turn the car in and we're going to run the curb on the inside. As we come out through the exit, you want to try and stick to the middle of the track and also try and get the car far left, ready for turn 10. Our braking point is at the start and also the end of the curbs on both either side of the track. This corner is misleadingly tight and is also very easy to lock a wheel into the braking zone. We'll shift it down into 1st gear and we're going to turn the car in, aiming to clip our front right wheel just here, once again off the high curb. As we come out through the exit, we're going to balance the throttle, let the car run out wide and then get down on the power as we open up the DRS as soon as we have traction. We're going to let the car drift over to the right hand side, ready for the very long turn 11. We're going to turn the car in, closing the DRS manually, and we're aiming for our braking point roughly here. This is a very long sweeping left hander, and judging a braking point can be quite difficult, so you usually base it on feel rather than using any reference points. So our apex for the second part of turn 11 is roughly here. You want to try and get it clipping as late as possible, which will help you open up turn 12, which is the more important section of these two corners. So coming through turn 12 now then, we're going to run the curb on the inside and you're aiming to clip your front right wheel here. If you didn't get a good clipping point through turn 11, you're going to know that coming through this corner. So get in a good exit and let the car drift over to the left, and we're going to bring it back over to the right as we open up the DRS. Our braking point for turn 13 is roughly here, once again based on feel, no reference points. We're going to give a short stab of the brake, just close the DRS, and we're going to turn the car in maintaining 4th gear, aiming to clip our front left wheel just off the curb here on the inside. So coming through the exit, we're going to open up the DRS again, and as there's a very small dip, we're going to use our braking point that's going to be at the bottom of that. Using this here, we're basically going to shift down 2 gears into 3rd. We're going to turn the car in, and once again we're aiming to avoid the curb on the inside, clipping your front right wheel just here. We're going to balance the throttle as we come through the corner, and upon exit we're going to let the car drift out wide, and then we're going to immediately bring it back over as far right as possible, ready for the double left hander of turn 15 and 16. Once again, braking point is based on pure judgment. There isn't really any reference points that I use for this. We're going to shift down into 2nd gear and we're going to turn the car in, aiming to get our front left wheel to clip this point just here. Once again, we're trying to stay off the curb, but this time as you come out through the exit, you want to get as far wide as possible. Use a little bit of all the AstroTurf on the exit if you want, and then we're going to keep the car completely flat out for turn 16. Again, trying to avoid the curb on the inside, getting the front left wheel to clip this point here, which help us open up this corner, ready for turn 17. Just completely flat out. We're going to hug the curb on the inside, get your DRS open as soon as possible to come find the corner, and across the start finish line to complete your lap. So tips for this track, as you probably guessed, is to stay off the majority of the curbs. A lot of them are very high, and it can be quite difficult to maintain grip throughout the corner if you take a curb and send the car bouncing towards the outside of the track. This is probably my weakest track, so I find it very difficult to build up and maintain a flow throughout Sector 2 and also Sector 3. It's a good idea to actually learn and practice on this track an awful lot, as it can be very easy to just generally get lost as to what corner is coming up next. So good track knowledge is important. Try and nail the key braking zones, as it can be very easy to lock a front wheel and send you straight on. So that concludes this episode of the In-Depth Track Guide series. If you enjoyed the video, please give a rating. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Hope to see you soon, guys. Take care.